Everyone. Thanks for joining. We will begin momentarily. We're just waiting for a few other people to join, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, everyone. Thanks for waiting. My name is Abby Ryan, and thank you all for joining us today. We're really excited to welcome you to AustinPx Live, our new online webinar series, giving you a closer look at who we are and what we do. And we're really excited to kick things off today with a company overview led by our Chief Scientific Officer, Dr. Dave Miller. And today, Dave will walk through what makes Austin Pharmaceutics unique, and we'll also explore our integrated CDMO services, our sponsor-informed mindset, and how our proprietary KinetiSol technology is helping partners tackle some of the toughest formulation challenges in drug development. And today we'll start off with a 20-minute presentation, which will be followed by a live Q&A. So please, anytime throughout the webinar, feel free to submit any questions that you have, and we'll go through all of those with Dave at the end. But I am pleased to introduce Dr. Dave Miller, scientific leader, KinetiSol co-founder, and a true expert in formulation strategy. Dave, take it away.
Hey, thanks, Abby. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. I'm excited about this live event series. So this is the first installment of what should be several editions, where we're going to get into, who AustinPx is as a company, where we came from, where we're going, our various tools and expertise. And it's a fun sort of venue to do this with a live audience, because I'm usually delivering this presentation and various other presentations to single clients or client companies. So I like this live event series as an opportunity to capture a broader audience with our messaging. So today in this first installment, it'll sort of be an overview of AustinPx, our history, where our expertise is, our tools, and then as we go along in this live event series, we'll present different features of the company and focus on our specific technologies and get into some case studies. We have a lot of stories to tell from our long history, and it'll be fun to do that in this live event form. So with that, we'll dive into the presentation. But before we get into AustinPx as a company, let's talk about what we're facing as an industry and the rise in complexity in various facets in recent days. So first of all, from our perspective, what we've seen, which is uplifting, is an innovation surge, particularly in the area of small molecules. So we've been working on a lot of advanced small molecules in the areas of protacs and molecular glues and peptidomimetics and macrocyclic molecules. So complex chemistry, really, so signs that we're pushing the boundaries of chemical space in search of new therapies, utilizing new and advanced tools like machine learning and different AI tools to aid in discovery. And those are presenting really interesting challenges from formulation, drug delivery perspective that we've been working on lately. Then, as you all are aware, what going on from a macroeconomic point of view, it's in the news quite a bit, is this globalization versus localization and supply chain issues and reshoring and nearshoring trends and strategies. So those are all factoring into what we do as a CDMO in terms of delivering drug product for clinical trials and other uses. The regulatory landscape is also shifting. There's new accelerated pathways becoming available, new guidelines for certain indications like pediatrics, orphan drugs, oncology. So there's different facets of regulatory oversight that are impacting what we do in terms of pharmaceutical development and more specifically drug product development. And then finally, where we've been focused heavily with our clients lately is on sort of best in class products, not just best in class molecules, but also how the drug product itself complements that molecule towards delivering a product that's very patient centric, customized dosage forms that improve the patient experience, whether that be adherence or convenience or addressing very patient-specific issues with the delivery system as well as the molecule. So with that as the backdrop, this rising in complexity in the industry and more nuanced development, let's talk about what makes Austin Pharmaceutics unique. And starting off with our scientific expertise. So we were founded on a technology that was really a pathway of enablement for extremely challenging molecules. So our history as a company is founded on developing solutions for the most complex molecules and the most difficult target product profiles. So we've got a long history with these types of challenges. And in general, a depth of expertise in dealing with insoluble molecules, and then different facets of insoluble molecules like brick dust, these molecules that are insoluble in everything, very high melt points. How do we enable, a lot of like nibs and RAF molecules were described as brick dust and very promising from an efficacy perspective, but almost undevelopable from a properties perspective. So have a history of dealing with molecules like that, as well as grease balls, highly lipophilic molecules, ultra high potent compounds. We've just completed a project where the projected dose for the molecule was 1.4 microgram, going as high as a whopping 2.8 microgram per dosage form. So ultra high potent molecules are something that we've dealt with in the past. Labile compounds, compounds that are chemically present stability issues. As I mentioned before, very complex chemistries like macrocycles, PROTACs, small molecules that mimic peptides. They're very large in terms of molecular weight, very unique properties, difficult to deliver. And as we get into degraders and molecular glues, compounds that are designed to hit, difficult to ligands that bind to difficult to hit targets. We've dealt with all of these historically. As I mentioned before, we sort of were founded on bioavailability enhancement and improving oral absorption of insoluble molecules. In general, we're experts in developing supersaturating drug delivery systems, that take a very insoluble molecule, increase its apparent solubility to drive absorption and exposure. And more specifically, amorphous solid dispersions are our bread and butter, but we can also have a lot of a depth of expertise in developing lipid-based systems, SEDs, cyclodextrin complexes. We've ushered an asset to a late-stage development that's a cyclodextrin inclusion complex in HP beta cyclodextrin, which is pretty unique in and of itself. Engineered particles and layering modified release onto all of these enabled systems. So it's about not just improving solubility, but also tailoring the pharmacokinetic profile, via the drug release to not only unlock absorption, but optimize the pharmacokinetics to improve therapeutic outcomes. And then underneath all of this, it's complex in terms of the science and the delivery, but we're driven by a sense of urgency. We, as I'll get into in a moment, we're a sponsor company ourselves, developing our own clinical pipeline. We understand very well burn rate and the runway you have as a biotech in terms of the money raised and getting to your next milestone. So we always proceed with a sense of urgency that accelerates the development that we do through all aspects of doing rapid pre-formulation and formulation development, quick transfer to clinical trial material manufacturing to get drug product in the clinic as quickly as possible, and then carrying that through for GMP manufacturing, tech transfer, supply in support of first in human through phase 2, and then a seamless transition to our large-scale CMO partners for phase 3 and beyond. So kind of with that as our foundation of expertise, let's talk a little bit more about the details of who Austin Pharmaceutics is. So as I mentioned, we evolved from our history as a sponsor company. We were originally founded on the KinetiSol platform as a drug delivery technology, but then utilized that platform to create a pipeline of our own products. And at peak, we had 6 clinical assets. So we were a sponsor company developing our own assets, and that's our history, and that's really what drives us as a company and is in our DNA and how we complement our clients from that perspective. And there's more on that in a couple of slides. We're privately held. We do work as fee for service. We have some proprietary tools, but those don't bear royalties. Everything is done fee for service. We've been around as a company for about 15 years, and in that time we've been doing drug product development, analytical development, manufacturing, testing, release, and we've even gotten into preclinical operations, clinical operations, regulatory. So we have a full spectrum of expertise and experience as a company over the last decade and a half. We've got a 32,000 square foot facility just north of Austin, Texas. R&D, formulations development, analytical development, as well as QC, GMP manufacturing. And unique to us as well, we have a separate facility where we design, build, test the KinetiSol equipment. As a company, we're sort of comprised of experts and not only formulations development, but also analytical development, manufacturing, science, tech transfer, regulatory support, and project management. We're world-class amorphous solid dispersion development teams that have been doing amorphous solid dispersions, design, testing, translation into in vivo, and ultimately clinic. We've been doing that since our founding. So we're one of the world's leaders in ASD development. And as a former sponsor ourselves, we provide end-to-end clinical development experience. So even though we're sort of contracting for formulations and analytical development and sort of the nuts and bolts of CMC, we've lived the lives of our clients as a sponsor company ourselves, and we provide sort of these intangible benefits of having been in those situations, those various development situations and challenges along the way, and can provide expertise and advice from that experience to our clients, which is pretty unique in the CDMO space. And part of that expertise is built into preclinical studies. We've done extensive preclinical work, pharmacokinetic studies that factor into the design of the dosage form and translation to patients. Again, as a 505(b)(2) company, our focus was optimizing pharmacokinetics to improve therapeutic outcomes. So we wear that lens as we analyze our clients' projects and can advise in that capacity in terms of designing PK experiments that will ultimately translate to patients in the design of the dosage form. So let's see. So a few more highlights. We've got a proven management team. Our management team, going all the way to our board of directors, is combined of a proven team ranging from experience of big pharmas, large CDMOs, to smaller biotechs, and even industries outside of pharma, where that experience is brought to the table to provide, again, some unique perspective on some pharmaceutical problems and unique solutions that come as a result. So we've got a proven management team. We've got a workforce of over 40 plus professionals with a depth of experience in pharmaceutical development, again, ranging from small to large pharma. I've already mentioned how we've lived the life of a sponsor, and as a result, we provide end-to-end expertise in development and manufacturing, specifically with complex formulations, although we have quick-to-clinic solutions as well, where the goal is just to get an API into a capsule to the patients as quickly as possible. We have those capabilities. So we sort of run the gamut of complex formulations all the way to very simple, strategic, quick to clinic. Let's get a readout in healthy humans or early patient studies as quickly as possible. We support that all the time as well. So what we have that's unique to us is our proprietary KinetiSol technology state-of-the-art amorphous solid dispersion approach that we feel is disruptive in terms of now that we've matured the platform, you'll see a lot more products converting from what would typically be a spray dried process over to KinetiSol. We've been innovating that process for almost 20 years now, but we've been in pharmaceutical development, in clinical development with the technology for 10 years, and we've advanced our own internal assets to late stage development, and we're working with clients now more readily on their late stage assets. And also fairly unique to a smaller CDMO is our partnerships with large pharmas. We've worked with almost all of the major pharmas and have currently are partnered with 10 of these global pharma giants working with us for KinetiSol and other areas of formulation support. To date, we've supported over 100 molecules as a company, like I said, including very challenging and soluble molecules. And our client base is rapidly expanding. Our clinical manufacturing teams have been very busy over the past year producing batches for clinical trials. So staying very busy as a company. So let's get into some more specifics about how our background as a product development company ourselves applies to our CDMO services. So when we pivoted from a sponsor, we partnered off our late stage assets and then found that we have this depth of experience, a wide range of tools, some very unique tools, a depth of experience, a fantastic culture, personnel that rivals any company in terms of scientific experience. And then having a sponsor's experience as well, dealing with CROs and being disappointed with the various aspects of dealing with CDMOs. We realized we had this, we were sitting on a very unique company and a unique set of tools and skills that we wanted to offer, to the industry at large beyond just our own pipeline. We could help facilitate transition of a lot of molecules through the clinic by applying what we had amassed in terms of tools and experience, as well as our culture and our approach to development. So this slide really captures a lot of that. And starting on the left column, looking at development and manufacturing, everything you'd expect to see in a CDMO in terms of formulation and analytical expertise, rapidly developing prototypes and testing those, scaling those prototypes up, doing manufacturing, validation, release, stability, all the nuts and bolts you'd expect from a CDMO. We've got those. But then, in things that are somewhat more unique to us, we look at support in discovery and preclinical. We have worked extensively in formulation development for tox studies, as well as analyzing formulations for delivery and solution or suspension, designing PK studies specific to those types of tox studies, and applying early pre-formulation experience to identifying lead molecules and screening candidates in terms of their viability and developability. And then, as I've mentioned, we were operating multiple clinical programs ourselves for a number of years. So we bring that clinical understanding to the table in terms of pharmacokinetics, not just in humans, but also in animal models, and translating those results from animal models into humans, predicting outcomes. We had essentially a clinical operations team. Many of those folks are with us now and providing sort of clinical program management advice to clients. Medical affairs, statistics, modeling, understanding portfolio, time, how funding is applied to different aspects of a project, accelerating development timelines to with the understanding of what burn rate means to a small biotech. And then, as I said, consultative guidance on, again, I can't stress enough PK. When we were focused on how PK translates to better therapeutic efficacy, we became, internal experts in doing PK analysis and projecting that forward to the clinic. And again, a lot of experience in development of INDs, specifically CMC sections, but also interfacing with the regulatory agencies. We've, as a company, been in front of the FDA a few times with our own assets. And then finally, again, our legacy was very heavily focused on developing IP to strengthen the intellectual property angle of our assets. So providing IP strategy is also something that we routinely do for our clients. So we look at our capabilities. We really span the full spectrum, starting with early phase development, looking at molecular characterization, doing developability assessments, doing pre-formulation, preclinical development, tox supplies, all early phase. And then looking at the other end of the spectrum, up to commercial registration, doing QC testing and stability testing for late stage products, as well as process development and GMP manufacturing, and tech transfer to CMO partners. But we're also doing commercial supply of the KinetiSol amorphous solid dispersion drug product intermediate, going all the way out to commercial. And then everything in between that you would expect to see. Analytical methods development. We have a fantastic analytical group. Technology screening. So once we do an assessment of the molecule, we have all the tools to evaluate a compound in various formulation approaches, whether it's conventional or enabled, and looking at taking a data-driven approach as to which technology we select going forward. And obviously, bioavailability enhancement is one of our strong suits as well. So we talked about the complexity in the industry and how we fit into that. So this is the slide that kind of ties it all together. We're meeting these complex challenges with tailored solutions. And like I said, when it comes to client focus, that's really ingrained in our culture. There's been a lot of merger and acquisition in the CDMO world, and now a lot of these companies are large. They're sort of offering one-stop shop. They're sort of jack of all trades, but masters of none. So there was a growing need for what we felt a smaller, more nimble, high science, high touch CRO with specific expertise in oral dosage form development, and that's where we fit in as a CRO at with Austin Pharmaceutics. And with our legacy as a sponsor company, we really feel like our team is an extension of your team. We used to live and breathe our own assets. Now we're applying that expertise to our client assets, but the commitment to those molecules hasn't changed. We treat that asset like it's our own. And because ultimately, when we pivoted to a CDMO, we saw an opportunity to apply our expertise, as I mentioned, to a lot more molecules and getting greater reach in terms of touching patients with new therapies. And so that's what really motivates us as a company. And so, we provide that depth of expertise and client focus to solve these challenging formulation problems. And but also we understand how difficult the development process can be in terms of shifting timelines, delays with API, delays with clinical entry, changing endpoints, et cetera. So we know how to pivot and respond quickly to the frequent changes in development. So again, as we start to lab, we're flexible and responsive. So we understand that the early phase development is very fast paced, and we built our culture and our systems to be flexible and allow us to shift to changing needs and demands. We are solutions driven. So our teams are driven by data towards solving complex problems. So we've got, like I said, a team of extremely smart people with really strong communication skills, and we've armed them with the tools to make informed decisions and empower them to partner with our clients in finding the best solution for their molecules. And when it comes to, Austin Pharmaceutics as a strategic partner, we're consultative, we're an extension of your team, we're unbiased. We understand that every company and molecule, they're all unique. And so we partner with our clients to really understand their specific challenges and then design a plan that's really tailored to meet their needs. So our goal is to provide data-driven recommendations and to select the best option for your molecule and never to tie you to a platform technology. And and again, our legacy as a sponsor company really lends to our ability to anticipate and empathize with our clients' needs and meet them where they are. So quickly, we'll go through. I mentioned we're a company built up of an A team of pharmaceutical professionals. So that starts out with dedicated project managers. We've got, in my opinion, the best project managers in the business. They, experts in communication, very clear communication, both in meetings and in writing, and providing very detailed Gantt charts and planning. It's all transparent. Your project is laid out in front of you. It's not a black box. You're talking to the actual technical people that are leading your project on a weekly basis. And our technical leadership is second to none, and they're hands-on. So you engage with our experts from the start. When we start with your project, you're talking to the experts, and there's no handoffs or gaps. Those experts are the ones that are going to be shepherding your project through development. We're, I've already mentioned how responsive we are. Our culture, our processes are set up to be adaptive and responsive. We can pivot very quickly. Uh, One of the issues that we always had as a sponsor pivoting with CROs was the lack of transparency. And so that's something that we very much focus on, starting with our project management teams. We're transparent through the process, and we align, with the technical hurdles, and we adjust our timelines to pivot to whatever the recent challenge or the change in development is. Very transparent, no surprises. And like you, very patient-centric. Our goal as a sponsor was to deliver better therapies to patients, and we've maintained that goal as a CDMO. So that's our focus as we've proven as we work with our clients. And then finally, our track record, again, bringing it over a decade of experience to developing drug products that make a difference in the lives of patients. So I think many of you on this call are aware of the challenges we face in terms of challenging molecules, specifically related to solubility. So the latest statistics, they kind of fluctuate here and there, but I think everyone feels comfortable that about 70% of new molecules have solubility and bioavailability challenges. This can translate into poor pharmacokinetics, and when that becomes an issue in clinical trials, this can turn into substantial delays, and with those delays come significant cost increases. And so here's some statistics on this slide that represent, what poor bioavailability can mean in terms of delays and costs. Okay, with that, just a quick overview of this is our management team. You know me, Chris Bruff is our Chief Technology Officer, the man behind the KinetiSol process and technology. Justin Keene is our Senior VP Operations. He heads up most of the technical operations, including formulations development, analytical development, tech transfer, manufacturing. Elizabeth Hickman is our CEO, has an extensive history in the CDMO industry, brings a wealth of knowledge in how to operate a business in a client-centric company. Amy Kimbrough is our QA director, a seasoned professional in terms of QA interfacing with clients, auditors, regulatory agencies. And finally, Francesco Sherrod is our CFO, came from Catalent, really provides excellent financial direction for the company. You might, see Austin Pharmaceutics is a boutique CDMO, but we have global reach. We've worked with clients all over the world, and we have I&D experience across the US, Canada, Australia, India, Thailand, and even Europe. And then finally, a little bit on our quality unit. So as our QA team has a depth of experience in managing quality and quality systems, maintaining GMP compliance, quality engineering, providing validation and robust user requirements, qualification protocols for equipment. They can routinely conduct internal audits, managing deviations, systems oversight. We've been audited by large pharmas, and all of our major pharma partners have been here, audited our quality system, and passed us with flying colors. As I mentioned, our history and in the past, as well as working with our current clients, we have global regulatory experience that has applied itself to a number of INDs, CTAs around the world. And finally, very unique to a CDMO in that we have direct clinical trial execution experience as a company, spanning phase 1 and phase 2 trials. Okay, with that, I think that's a pretty comprehensive initial foundation for the company, who we are, what our capabilities are, how we approach complex problems and dealing with our clients. So if there's, I know I ran a little long, but I think we still have some time for Q&A, and I don't mind staying over to answer questions.
Yeah, so Dave, we got a question asking, with the rise of PROTACs and molecular glues, what formulation challenges are you seeing the most frequently right now?
Yeah, I think what we've seen most often with these more difficult small molecules is that they're highly insoluble, first of all, but also they present manufacturing challenges that preclude sort of traditional supersaturating delivery approaches. So we've been applying our KinetiSol technology to those molecules on a regular basis um, to overcome aqueous insolubility, but to also provide a very robust manufacturing platform that to get them from early stages of development where most of them are now, but also line of sight to commercialization. So we can apply our KinetiSol technology to overcome the solubility bioavailability challenges and as well as the manufacturability challenge that they're facing with like melt extrusion and spray drying, for example. So we can get to prototypes, we can get into animal models and then translate those to the clinic. And then we've got line of sight all the way to commercialization with our platform. And I think that's very attractive for companies developing these really complex small molecules that present really unique challenges in the small molecule space that I don't think, aside from KinetiSol, the industry doesn't have a lot of great solutions for these molecules.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. And I'm going to go ahead and ask one more and then we'll wrap up here. But as you kind of talked about earlier, someone noted that the industry is experiencing an increase in demand for patient-centric dosage forms. So can you kind of talk through how Austin Pharmaceutics is addressing the needs of pediatric and geriatric populations?
Sure. Yeah, this is something we face as a sponsor company as well, and we've seen this with a lot of our clients' programs, and that the molecules that we're working on address sort of a wide range of patient demographics. So, while we are developing traditional dosage forms for adult populations, our approach needs to also be flexible enough and to be amenable to other populations. So dysphagic populations with the elderly, pediatrics, uh, dose forms that are amenable to a patient-specific dosing, where doses are determined by body mass or surface area. We've been focusing our efforts towards designing, first of all, an intermediate, a form of the API that can be easily converted into a number of different dosage forms, and then successfully taking that intermediate and applying it to making not only a film coated tablet for adults or a capsule for adults, but also stick packs, sprinkles, granules. And most importantly, lately we've been focusing a lot of our development efforts on developing mini tablets for pediatric and geriatric applications. Mini tablets kind of overcome the problem of swallowability. They provide small, discrete unit doses that one can meter a specific dose for a person based on their their body mass. And also they're coatable. So we've been functionally coating many tablets in using fluid bed technology to either provide taste masking or to avoid dissolution in the oral cavity or to bypass the stomach, protecting API from acid degradation. So I think we have a history of doing this with our own products, and we're sharing that history and that experience with our clients in terms of developing a drug product intermediate that's flexible in its application to various dosage forms so that we can provide a patient-centric dose for each segment of a patient population, and specifically pediatrics or geriatrics.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave, and thank you everyone else for joining us today. We were so happy to have all of you here. And I do want to point out the next live event is going to be August 19th, and that'll be at the same time, 11 a.m. Central. And if you want to, please go ahead. If you're not already following us on LinkedIn, there's a QR code up there in the right-hand side, and go ahead and scan that, and that will have any information on upcoming events, as well as we'll post when this slide deck is available and on demand on our website. So just go ahead and follow along for any upcoming news. But again, thank you all for joining us today, and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, Abby.